What's up, people? I'm Shaggy, the Opinionated Hippie, and this is my favorite love songs. Not love songs, not in the world love songs, but Arthur Lee, the band love songs. And because it is Arthur Lee, the band love songs, the love songs that are on this list are not going to be happy or romantic in a good sense. They're going to be depressing and heartbreaking, and sometimes Arthur Lee has problems, and when his girl leaves him, his problem leaves him. So yeah, it's a lot of depression here. Arthur Lee recorded an album in the summer of love, and instead of celebrating its heights, he was looking to the future to see when it collapsed, and it's a fantastic album. But that's the vibe of a lot of these songs lyrically, though musically sometimes it's a little more, you're feeling a little more peppier than the music, than the lyrics maybe would make you feel if you were listening closely to the lyrics. But that's the beauty of the band, is that sort of juxtaposition sometimes. 10 songs. I made a YouTube playlist. If I can get one person who doesn't know love to check that out and maybe get down a love rabbit hole, maybe start enjoying some Arthur Lee, the world will be a better place, because a fantastic artist. On the verge, I think, of being forgotten. Luckily, I think I'm not a big fan of cover albums, but the reason I decided to do this now, Love has been on my long list of things connected to Zappa for a while. He and Zappa were both from, Arthur Lee and Zappa were from the LA freak scene in the 60s. I think they shared a stage together at some point, or at least played on the same stage on the same night. There are stories. Frank Zappa, I think, even talked about Arthur Lee in some early interviews, so was very aware of him. But Rush covered one of their songs on this list. And I was like, oh, dude, I got to get Love. I want to talk about some Love. It's a fantastic band. So hearing Rush cover them opened my eyes to, like, I got to maybe get some more people to check this out. So thank you, Rush, for doing that. I'm not a fan of cover albums, but they have a purpose, and Rush proved what that was. So anyways, 10 songs. I'll put the list on the screen when I'm done. And then check out the YouTube playlist if you want to check them out. They will be in this order, except for the last two, which one of the songs on here, number 9, it's on an album that is not on YouTube, but there's a video of it on YouTube, but not on YouTube Music. So I don't know if that messes up your playlist, but that's number 10, and it's on the list. Anyways, let's go. Number 10, Love is More Than Words, or Better Late Than Never. It's a jam. It's a long jam. It's like almost 12 minutes. It's attacking. It's ferocious. It's a little chaotic at times. They kind of did 3 jams in their career. 2 of them I'm not a fan of. One of them I think just kind of doesn't go anywhere in a boring way. The other one has a drum solo that's really long. This one is good. Energy is good. Playing is very energetic. It's not the most, the guitar solo itself is not the most jaw-dropping guitar solo, but the energy, the attack, it just works. It's on a double LP that's a little all over the place, and it works really well in the context of sort of the sprawling experimentation that happens on that album with kind of different genres and different sub-psych genre forms and stuff like that. That was a weird sentence. Number 10, Love is More Than Words, or Better Late Than Never. 9, Somebody's Watching You. This is the one from his late 90s album that he did several years before he passed away in the early 2000s. It's got a really light, breezy, dancey, jammy, loose feel about it. Kind of like, doesn't sound like Eyes of the World or Franklin's Tower, but it has that sort of structure. You get some lyrics, and then some instrumental section, then some lyrics, then some instrumental section. It doesn't really feel, it just feels like we're just going to keep playing until we run out of verses, and then the song will end. Really good energy, really just neat song on a surprisingly strong final album, decades after his sort of classic 60s period. 8, Be Thankful for What You Got, and what we got here is almost disco. The bass, the groove, you kind of want to dance. It is just absolutely, like, I think the first line, he's like dropping the falsetto. He's like, you may not drive, but he's like going for those high notes early. It feels soulful. It feels loose, feels disco-y. Yeah, be thankful for what you got. And I'm thankful we got this. That was a really cheesy line I just dropped right there. But it is a absolutely fantastic song. No, this isn't one. Yeah, it's just great 70s funk groove in this thing. Yeah, Really good song. Be thankful for what you got. Number 7, their big hit single, the one that the only thing that kind of put them on any sort of map, unfortunately. 7 and 7 is. It is the one that Rush covered on their Feedback album. Just a frantic, high-paced, really short psych pop rock single. I think Neil Peart was excited to cover it because he essentially just gets to do a drum roll the entire time. Like, that's how aggressive this entire song is. It's just like relentless. It's exhilarating. Really good. Number 6, Maybe the People Would Be the Times, or Between Clark and Hillsdale. Excellent song. Really sort of forceful acoustic energy, kind of a social anxiety type, travelogue type song lyrically. Just really good psych folk rock propulsive energy on an album filled with absolute classics. It's off their epic Forever Changes, follows another absolute classic song, which didn't make this list, but the combination of those two, one's a little sparser, a little gentler, and then this comes in with more like a driving, just absolutely fantastic. Great song. Number 5, Alone Again, or the leadoff track off that Forever Changes album, which starts off sounding like almost classic psych acoustic folk. It sounds familiar. It's got a melancholy vibe to it. It's a little bit dark. Great lyrics, great vocal performance by Lee. And then we drop into like a mariachi solo. We get like a trumpet coming in, and like all of a sudden we're in an entirely different world. And the Forever Changes is the album that he wrote and recorded during the Summer of Love, but it was about sort of the eventual failing of that. And there was something so form meets function of this like psych folk vibe that's a little melancholy and a little dark and a little foreboding, and then you drop in this mariachi solo in the middle, and you're just like, what? That's weird. That's a weird vibe, but it works. The contrast works. It works with his concept. It works with what he's going for. And yeah, you can always use a little bit of horn when it's done well. And I'm not always a fan of saxophone or brass if it's not done well, but it's a little jarring the first time I heard it. I was like, this is weird. But the more I listen to it, the more I'm like, yeah, he nailed it. Number 4, the song that follows on that Forever Changes. So these middle 3 songs right here, 4, 5, and 6 are all from the same album. A House Is Not a Motel kind of starts off a little more traditionally acoustic, and it follows the opener, but then it goes a lot of different places. Some electric guitar jumps in. The lyrics continue to be dark, and it's a really awesome companion piece to the opening track. And then the track follows, then goes to more like a traditional Joan Baez territory. As a standalone song, it's absolutely fantastic. But its placement on the album, I think, just makes it feel deeper and richer. And its connection to the songs that precede it and follow it, it's a really good song by itself. But I love it so much more because I listen to this album a lot, and the second song just like continues the greatness, but in a less obvious way. Like when you drop that trumpet solo in the first one, you're like, yeah, all right, this is a really weird, cool song. And then the next one, you're like more traditional, but then it just kind of gets weirder and more interesting. And just the depth of Lee's songwriting, the depth of his vision just kind of starts to seep in more, I think, after the second song. A House Is Not a Motel, and it's not. I think it's against the law, actually, in most neighborhoods in the United States. Actually, it's not. Maybe now a house is a motel. This song is wrong because of Airbnbs. All right. Number 3, Always See Your Face, the closing track off of, I always forget, I think it's their 4th album, For Sales. Really awesome acoustic song, kind of sad. This is the one where he had a problem and then she broke up with him and his problem was gone. It's just, for the most part, a straightforward, it's the last song on For Sale. It's for the most part a straightforward kind of acoustic-y psych folk song, but the lyrics are just kind of devastating. The vocal performance is beautiful. The melodies are beautiful. Like, these top 3 songs on this album, almost all like acoustic kind of psych folk. That's not normally my jam. Like most other bands, the 11-minute jam is going to be in my top 5, right? And the more electric stuff. But there is something about Lee's voice and Lee's, just his vision of what his music is going to be and what it's supposed to feel like. And Always See Your Face, just, It's one of those really sad, haunting songs that you want to listen to over and over again because it's just got such a great hook and such a great melody. And Lee's vocal presence is just so perfect. Signed DC is number 2, which is the debut album version. They re-recorded this later and kind of lengthened it, gave it a little more electric energy. This is a little more sparser, a little more darker, a little more acoustic-y, and it's pretty much about being a drug addict. And it's about, I think, said the line, like, you know, I sold my soul to the dealer. No, that's not the line. Something, the dealer has my soul. It's about sticking the needle in for the first time and then being alone. And there's some darkness in this song, but it has this acoustic vibe that, yeah, sounds dark and foreboding, but at the same time also is alluring and you want to listen to it. So it's an easy song to listen to, but then as you go on and listen to the lyrics, it just becomes uncomfortable because he's managed to write a song in which he's dealing with these things and you're like, but I want to listen to it. And that's weird because it's depressing. It's like Naked Lunch put to music, just not that graphic. But great song. Really like the remake version later on. The song is powerful enough that you could add things around it and it's still good. But the sort of the basic, the skeletal version that we get here, I think it's just a little more powerful considering the subject matter. And then number 1, off their debut album, 3rd song, A Message Too Pretty. I don't know, man. It haunts me. The acousticness of it, the melody, that harmonica riff. Oh my goodness. Another sad song about kind of being lonely. And it's haunting. It's stark. It's not really delicate, but it feels like it's delicate because the emotions that Lee is putting out there. It is just such an absolutely just perfect psych folk song. It is just, I don't know, I think it just blows me away every time I listen to it. A Message Too Pretty. But yeah, that's what they look like in writing my 10 favorite love songs. Absolutely fantastic band. It is one of those bands that it's one of those bands that I think every time you listen to it, it just kind of grows on you a little more. It just, especially with the passage of time, they still sound for the most part heavily rooted to the 60s and sort of the West Coast scene, or obviously trying to fit in with the sort of 70s soul, funk, R&B, disco, smoother sound. But no matter where they are, and no matter how many sort of reference points you catch among other bands, it just works. Lee was a phenomenal writer. Great stuff. Great energy. Just really good stuff. I highly recommend you check it out. Go to the YouTube playlist. Listen to some of these. Become a fan because your life will be better for it. That's the purpose of this. Make your life better. Enjoy music. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, like, share, comment. Do those things. And go listen to love, people. Fall in love with love. Sorry for the cheesiness, but it's love, so cheesiness is okay. That's all I got. Peace. Talk to you later.